It's guy love between two guys.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. David, loved Jonathan. I get hit with this once in a while from people of a particular political slant, usually, that David loved Jonathan in the biblical sense. Now, we'll get to that. We will indeed get to that. I do want to point out, though, that
there's nothing gay about it.
Other than gay means happy and happy means gay. Huzzah! What's up, everybody? Joe and Jeff and Unrelated and Hyper Potato, not Shia, not even once. Agape, folks. Well, this was not in Greek. This was in Hebrew. So we will go to the letter, the words, and all that stuff. But first, I do have a couple stories I wanted to get to. There's so much to talk about. This one, I'm not going to be able to finish. I know. It's... California proposed ethnic studies curriculum calls for the decolonization of American society, and his students chant to the Aztec god of human sacrifice. The solution, according to one author, is a counter-genocide against white Christians. What on earth is wrong with the people who populate my state? From Christopher F. Rufo, here's a story, and it's a thread. It's a very, very long thread. I'm going to read a few of these. You guys just pipe in with whatever you got. What? Why is Tony Hawk's trending? Hold on a second. Tony Hawk being wholesome. Tony Hawk. It's Tony Hawk's doing everything in the world. Tony Hawk's daily son people telling around. Tony Hawk's don't be a fucktail. I never met Tony Hawk. I simply recognize Tony Hawk scan and do a kickflip. They give him free gear. All right. I have no idea why Tony Hawk is trending. I'm going to just go ahead and ignore that squirrel. Art Tolteca. First of all, you want to pray to the Aztec god of human sacrifice? What is wrong with these people? Truth Seeker says, greetings from exile. Greetings, Truth Seeker. Thank you for popping over from the Dugganators channel. Any new Dugganator people, thank you for showing up. Hope you enjoy the show. WT says, every racist in history had a justification they felt was legit. Today's no different. Yeah, I was working on this page today. I'm not going to show it. It's almost, I decided I need to do a background of this, so I was about to go scan it in, then I'm like, that panel needs a background. But as I was doing this, I was listening to Gulag Archipelago. If you ever want to think that, the human race is really just all good and we can eventually get to utopia, just give Gulag Archipelago a read. And that'll straighten you out real quick. Otherwise, you're completely just brainwashed and closed-minded to truth. But, hey, it happens. It happens. All right. Aloha, Edwin. You're on Twitter. That is where you know it went wrong. Oh, my gosh, Edwin, you have no idea. I guess you do. But, yeah, I went on Twitter today and someone's trying to tag me in the Red Rooster stuff, and I'm like, so I don't care. I don't care. Just leave me alone. I just want to get my book. And I'll get it soon, so whatever. Twitter is a sewer. Indeed, Arlene. Indeed. All right. California's ethnic studies model curriculum based on the Marxist pedagogy of the oppressed instructs students to challenge racist, bigoted, discriminatory, imperialist colonial beliefs and critique white supremacy, racism, and other forms of power and oppression. Speaking of racism, Drawn and Quartered tonight, we'll be doing Looney Tunes. And oh my goodness, did you see the thumbnail I did? Because if you go to my page, if you go to the Blacklist Universe and you see it, I didn't even realize, bruh. I went and I looked up Looney Tunes racism. Wow, they have erased so much Looney Tunes stuff from the pages of history, but it's all on the internet. Suffer and succotash, indeed. It is very, very. It's quite a thing. It's quite a thing to see. So in the thumbnail, I did, because I am Japanese. I really wanted to put up the little, you know. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Good look at my face. I'm an Oriental.
So what I wanted, they have the little cartoon, super racist little Asian. I don't know if they're Japanese. They're probably Japanese, because at the time we were at war with Japan. So, you know, the giant buck teeth underneath the squinty eye, and you know, you make it look like really, oh, Miss Rightly. I protest. I gotta get that clip. I need that clip. Pepe Le Pew is a predator. Yes. But I wanted to get all the I remember they tried to cancel what's his name? The little mouse. Ipa, andale. How am I not remembering his name? Ipa, andale. Right? I remember them trying to cancel him a while ago, and now they're making Speedy. Hey, Speedy Gonzalez. Yes. He was a very funny mouse. And his little cousin, like the mouse with the giant nose, and he talked like this, and he really, Speedy, why you gotta run so fast? Those guys were great. But yes, a lot of what you would call good-hearted racism. Because what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna not have? You don't want to represent races as tiny animals or little animals. So I mean, Pepe Le Pew, he is French, right? He is a French skunk. Oui. Good evening, cross examiners. We are now living in Fahrenheit 451. Yeah, someone on Facebook made an amazing. I mean, it's not the first time I've seen it, but someone pointed out, usually in history, the people who are banning books and burning books and canceling people's lives, they're not the good guys. We have a list of people. We got lists of people, and they tend to have body counts. So if you are of the mindset that we should be doing all this cancel culture and all of this Marxist pedagogy of the oppressed curriculum stuff, right? Maybe you're the bad guy, right? You might think about that for a second. You want to burn and ban books? You want to keep people from being allowed to speak their mind? You're the fascist. You're the communist. You are, I'm just going to say it, you're Hitler. All right. Slowpoke Rodriguez, my favorite. Aren't French people white? Who white, as Salty would say. So how is making fun of Pepe racist if he's white? It's okay. Pepe is not being canceled for racism, because, as you know, Pepe is both black and white. Sorry, that's horrible. No, he's being canceled because he's been Me Tooing a cat for far too long. Pepe likes the cat. You know what I'm saying? He likes to grab that cat. Anti-white curriculum based off the writings of a white guy. And true. I forgot to tell you, Slowpoke Rodriguez specs a gun. Hey. So anyways, that's on Twitter. I don't know if, oh my gosh. According to Coahuton, Quouten? Oh my gosh. Can you just spell your name phonetically? Whites began grabbing the land, hatching hierarchies, and developing for whiteness, which created excess wealth, and became the basis for the capitalist economy. You know, the way he says that, you can tell he just hates the capitalist economy. You know, the economy that has brought more people out of abject poverty than anything else in the history of planet Earth. But let's not let the facts get in our way. Whites continue to subject minorities to domestication and zombification. Okay, now I need to collect that. Zombification under hegemony. The dominant beliefs of an oppressor, hegemon, became normal and implicit in a society, manipulating and submerging oppressed peoples, causing memory loss of their indigenous and ancestral beliefs, and as holistic human beings and communities, concretizing dehumanization, and in certain cases, blah 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 blah. You know what? A lot of these places they came from. Oh, let's take for example the Aztecs, who routinely and ritually slaughtered their neighbors. I would think that any rational human being would say that bringing Christianity and the love of life, the praying for one's enemies, the golden rule, would have been a benefit, a net benefit, right? To, if not every single Aztec, then at the very least, to all of their neighbors. It's white season. Breaking. Apple once again denies Parler access to the App Store. Well, I think Parler's done, kids. I think Parler is done. All right, there was this other stuff. Coloniality. Sorry, there's words here I have not read before. Coloniality is a word I've never even heard before. I don't think that's a word. That's all right. In related Mandela, Coahuton claims that white Christians committed theocide against indigenous tribes, killing their gods and replacing them with Christianity. Well, that's because he's God. And the other people's gods wanted them to sacrifice their neighbors. Idiot. You... White settlers thus established a regime of coloniality, dehumanization, and genocide. Bruh! Christianity was legitimately stopping genocides. You moron. Anyways, I don't want to spend all day on this particular. I get irritated with the stupidity of these people's beliefs. It's like, what the heck? How did we let this stuff take over our flipping country? Only good thing Aztecs had was gold and land and corn pop. Corn pop was a bad man. Parler's been up and running just fine for weeks. Oh, has it? I haven't been on it since they dumped it the first time. And then I did try to go back and it still wasn't working for me. So men have forgotten God. That's why all this has happened. Solzhenitsyn. Yes. Yeah. I think I listened to that for 3 hours today while I was working. It's like, wow. the things people do to people. It gets pretty grim. That's my uplifting. That's my uplifting listening, because I can only listen to so much pop culture stuff, and even I know it's a political book, but even just listening to people complain about politics, sometimes you just need to like turn on an audiobook while you're working and just have let that wash over you and get away from the I know I'm making YouTube content and I'm telling you to get away from my YouTube content, but it can't just be the same malarkey day in and day out. And it's like there's I don't know, I got so sick of people of this and what it is, it's born of outrage culture, right? There's a group of people, and you may not even be thinking, well, I'm thinking you're thinking, there's probably multiple groups of people who joined a community based on outrage that something they loved was being maligned or being destroyed. Star Wars or comic books or video games or whatever the gate du jour is. And then it ends up being that the people that produce the content for this community, they have to maintain, and you know what, this works in politics too. This is a similar thing in politics. The thing about politics is it's actually important to our lives, and people are trying to stand up and do something about it instead of just making money off of it. Run from my YouTube channel, run. But so I see even good people following into this trap of, I need views, and therefore I have to feed the outrage mob that is my community. And so therefore, instead of going on and talking about things that actually matter, talking about things that they're looking for things to complain about, and they're looking for people to run down and make fun of. And it's I don't know. I'm running down an idea here. I'm not running down a person. I don't even know who this person is. What was his name? Kato Hatton? Whatever it is. It's his ideas that are poison, right? It's not a certain person did a certain thing and our community is outraged by it. So we can all get together, grab our pitchforks and our flames and our torches and start kumbayaing that this one person, and I mean literally, it's pick a person of the week. This one person, and I've been that person on many a week, is evil, liar, fraud, thief, blah de blah de blah, and then they just spend hours upon hours just talking crap about another person who's just trying to make a living making comic books or whatever, making video games, making Star Wars. It's an outrage mob, and I'm glad I'm not in it. I'm glad I'm out of it. Basically, if it bleeds, it leads. Oh wait, it disappeared. There it goes. I hate that. I hate that. Is Mike going to circle back? I am going to circle back. We have 10 minutes. I actually wanted to get to a different story, though, before I circle back to that. I did talk about this on Doug's last night a little bit, but y'all know Milo, right? Milo Yiannopoulos, flamboyant, gay, conservative man. Well, he's not gay anymore. Milo Yiannopoulos says he is ex-gay, wants to rehabilitate conversion therapy. Right-wing provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos has come out as ex-gay, announcing that he would like to help rehabilitate what the media calls conversion therapy over the next decade, according to a report. The 36-year-old British political commentator whose speeches and writings often ridicule political correctness, social justice, feminism, declared himself no longer gay and, dun dun dun, the important part, sodomy free. So, let's get enthusiastic generation. I don't want to read the whole thing here. Here, I'll just grab it, and if you want to read it, you can read it. I'll just drop it in the chat. But I think it's great that someone who is as open about sexual orientation, as open about everything in his life, basically, as has what's the word, celebrity status, like everybody knows who Milo is, and everybody knew Milo's gay, and now Milo has, through faith in Christ, and he's a Catholic, so he adds on some works element to his thing, but a new formula with 90% less sodomy. They're going to say he was never gay, just putting on an act. Oh yeah, that's his husband, right? Has been downgraded to his roommate. Ex-gay. Is that a new Marvel joint? No, I think Don Chin will be making that book. Instead of black men, now he'll like black women. But is Milo super straight? No, he's not quite super straight, because he doesn't consider himself cured. He considers himself an addict. So he's, in the last 250 days, according to the other article that I read, he's fallen off the wagon once. And when you fall off the wagon, you fall onto something else. But the shame of Greece. Oh, Joe, you don't like Milo? I like Milo. Something sodomy brought me here. What? Isn't there a health benefit to being gay? Not that I'm aware of. In the old days, there were statistics that, not many gay men made it past the age of 40. And I'm not even sure why. I mean, this was the early 90s, so it might have had a lot to do with AIDS back then. AIDS, suicide. Oh my gosh. I had a friend that had lived in the in Hillcrest here, the gay community in San Diego, and he was telling me like all the dirty secrets of the gay community. And I grant you, this isn't the lifestyle of every gay man. But when you have how would you call it? A compressed? No, that's probably not the word I want to use. When you have a very densely populated gay area, like Hillcrest, he's talking. It was drug addiction. The abuse was like practically ubiquitous. Was it drugs, abuse? There was no. He was complaining like he couldn't even have friendships. He couldn't even have friendships with other gay men because he's like, I wouldn't be on the phone for 30 seconds before it was, your place or mine. It would it's like, can we just, can we talk about anime or something? Yeah, because in that situation, they're just all dudes, and a lot of them are dudes, in their, what do you call it? Hormonal years. Not hormonal. Is it hormones? Yeah, something like that. Such a homogenous community. Yes, DJ, it's yes. Very homogenous community. No friendship, only son. Yeah, so I don't know. My JJ was living down there for a long time. I didn't actually talk to him about that though. That's the I didn't I don't know. I might someday. I might. Seriously, having that particular cross to bear has to be difficult under conviction. Here's hoping he makes it through. Well, yeah, WT, it's he was, from what I read, he was confronted by another faithful dude, and Milo would always go on and on about, you know, how he believed in Jesus, how he was a faithful Catholic, and all this stuff. And some Christian guy came up to him at one of his shows, and he like confronted him. He's like, "How can you say that you believe in the Savior, you believe in the church, you're a faithful, godly man, and yet you still commit to this, what the Bible says is a sin?" And rather than Milo being like, whatever, well, he wouldn't say it like that. He'd be, whatever, darling. Instead of that, he actually took it to heart, and he's like, yeah, can these things be unified? Can you be in the world, live by the world's rules? And this is not even just about this particular subject. It's about everything, right? Can you be in the world, of the world, and be a faithful Christian? The answer is no, you cannot. Whatever it is. And not to say we don't sin. We all sin. I sin every day. I do something stupid. Sometimes deliberately, very often indeliberately. But you cannot be in the world, of the world, and of the church, of the body of Christ, right? You have to choose. And for a lot of people, and I know this isn't everybody, but for me personally, everyone I know who is bipolar is someone who fits that definition. Someone who's trying to be of the world and of the church. We're supposed to be in the world, but not of the world. But people who are trying to live against God's rules, against what God wants for us. Trying to embrace the world and embrace God, and it rips their spirit in half. And I don't know, maybe some of you have people like that in your lives, but Mike, 80-year-old Little Richard interviews. Beautiful. You know who used to play guitar for Little Richard? That was Jimi Hendrix. Milo is just an attention whore. He would do and say anything. Well, now he's doing something. Now he's not doing something. How's that? I'm late here. Are you saying you think David was gay?
There's nothing gay about it.
Jimi Hendrix. That is correct. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. I will get to Samuel chapter 18. But right now we're talking about Milo Yiannopoulos and him no longer identifying as a gay man. And you know what? I'm with him, man. Gay is as gay does. It's not me being attracted to someone other than my wife, which I'm a human male. That's what happens. Does not make me an adulterer. Right? It's the act of adultery. Now, I know the whole, well, if you've lusted for a woman in your heart, then you're an adulterer. Well, I'm talking about the practical sense of the word, right? Me, I know I'm going against what Jesus says. I'm not talking about in my heart. I'm talking about the law, the legal definition, right? So, quite honestly, in the Bible, and even in this story here, love, real love between two men isn't condemned ever. It is literally the sodomy part, right? So you can love another man as God loved Abraham. I mean, that's the same word. It is the same word, and I'm gonna read through the lexicon and I'll show you. But it's not lust, right? And you can here. It's the thing. There's those different words for love in the Greek, right? Agape, phileo. Is it phileo? Phileo. Storga. Agape, phileo, storga. And what's the sexy one? Eros. And they're all very, very powerful emotions, but they're all placed very differently. I love my son as much as I love my wife. I do not love my son the way that I love my wife. You know what I'm saying? But the love there is just as powerful and just as important. And so therefore it's understandable to me that someone who's got their wiring mixed up, right, can be confused or can be made to be confused about which love belongs where and how those loves are adequately expressed. You know what I'm saying? You lusting after a woman that isn't your wife, not being adultery, is like your Backers and Walmart deal. I have no idea what you're talking about, Dick. You can love someone or appreciate beauty without sexuality entering the picture. Indeed. Erota anakate mahan, love unbeatable in battle. All right, it's time. Let's get to some scriptures. All right, 1 Samuel chapter 18. Let me take a hit off of this green tea first. Bitcoin almost hit all-time highs today. Just saying. Just want to get that out of the way. Clear the palate. Clear the plate. Let's get to the Bible. And it came to pass. I'm going to read it over here. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Now, the word love here is, as I show, to love. This is from the lexicon. The word itself is ahab.
Strong's H157. Ahav.
Ahav.
The form just below that.
All right, man. So I always go to the lexicon because I think that's just the meat and potatoes. To love, and this is where it refers to here. In which signification it accords with, construed with an accent, more rarely, blah, 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 blah. He loved him as his own soul, a friend, a friend, i.e., one who is loving and beloved, intimate, different from a companion. Also used in Isaiah 41:8 as the seed of Abraham, my friend. So I believe that is God speaking when he says, Abraham, my friend, right? Abraham is, I think he's the only guy in the Bible until Jesus came that God, prior to Jesus, called someone his friend, right? And God using that word to describe his love for Abraham is the same word here and in context that Jonathan loved David as his own soul. As a friend, not as a companion. See what I'm saying? You can take an Eros and you can put it on top of phileo, and you're gonna have a mess. Love, true love. I thought he said to believe. Yes, Bitcoin went very. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to control myself. All right. And Saul took him that day, because this is a long chapter, I think. Verses. Oh, no, it's only 30 verses. All right. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David and his garments, even to his sword and to his bow and to his girdle. This makes sense. It's not saying that he got naked. He was bestowing upon David basically royal attire, right? Because later on, I don't know if it's in this chapter, it might be in a further chapter. It's saying it's like when Saul wants to give David his daughter to marry, David is like, I got nothing. I'm poor. I've got nothing. How could I be the son-in-law to the king, right? So the elephant. Enoch walked with God, but yeah, I don't think it mentioned friend. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, that's why he gave his robe, he gave him his sword. He's like, here, you're now part of this royal household, essentially, right? Now you've got a suit. It's like you bring somebody into your corporation, and all they got is, a t-shirt and shorts, and you're like, bruh, you're gonna need an Armani. So you give them a suit. Anyways. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets and with joy and with instruments of music. See, everybody loves music. And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. And Saul, being the petty, jealous worm that he is, was very wroth. And the saying displeased him, and he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can ye have more but the kingdom? So petty. So petty. Dude, you sent him off to kill Goliath. You're like 7 feet tall, and you send little David, the smallest, youngest brother of Jesse's kids, and you send him off to fight the giant. And now you're going to complain because everyone's like, David is better than you, dummy. And it came to pass on the morrow. Oh, wait. And Saul eyed David from that day forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand. David was playing the harp with his hand. Just clarifying here. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him his captain over 1,000. And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. That's because of what a knucklehead Saul was, right? But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. He was, in other words, a man of the people, right? They could see him. He could shake the hands and kiss the babies. Not saying he was a politician. I'm just saying they recognized him. They knew him. Saul was probably holed up in his castle or whatever. And Saul said to David, "Behold, my elder daughter Mirab." Mirab is a killing word. "Her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me and fight the Lord's battles." For Saul said, "Let not mine hand be upon him." But this is after he already threw a javelin at the dude. But let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David, it was this chapter. And David said unto Saul, "Who am I, and what is my life or my father's family in Israel, that I should be the son-in-law to the king?" But it came to pass, at the time when Mirab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel, the Maholathite. Looks like Mahalo. Mahalo! Good evening, Moshe. Here again. What up, bro? Michael. Michael is pronounced Michael. Michael. Like that? Merav. All right, Merav. Where am I? In Mikhail. Is that Mikhail? Michael? Like Mikhail Gorbachev? Michael. I was expecting Meathead. Hey, Meathead. Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David, and they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, "I will give him her, that she may be a snare unto him, and that the hand of the Philistines may be against him." Wherefore Saul said to David, "Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain." And Saul commanded his servants, saying, "Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore be the king's son-in-law." And Saul, the Whisper Network, trying to sucker David into marrying. And Saul's servants spake these words in the ears of David. And David said, "Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed?" And the servants of Saul told him, saying, "On this manner spake David." And Saul said, "Thus shall ye say to David, The king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies." But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistines. Hey, Joe, Philistines, turns out they were Greek, bro. The DNA testing, I think, said they're Greek, just like you. This is great. I got Joe's my Greek expert. Mosh is my Hebrew expert. Bruh, I don't even need Blue Letter Bible anymore. I'm just gonna talk to you guys. P-Mac says, "What? What am I doing?" Oh, the foreskins. Oh yeah. And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. Skips part of the story, skips certain descriptions, and just says, "And David brought their foreskins." And they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. You gotta wonder, whose job was it to collect the foreskins? Alrighty then. And Saul. All right, and give them in full to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife. And Saul saw that. Sorry, it's the foreskins. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the princess of the Philistines went forth. Oh, princes. Sorry. I was thinking of the other one. The princes of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass after they went forth that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by. What does the princes of the Philistines went forth mean? What is that? I need another version of the Bible. 1 Samuel 18:30. 1 Samuel 18. Yeah, 18:30. Let's see what. NIV sucks. English Standard Version. 18:30. Then the commanders of the Philistines came out to battle. Okay. And as often as they came out, David had more success than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was highly successful. In other words, David kicked their butts all across the promised land. Indeed. Whew. That's a story. That's a story. Foreskin examinations. Mr. Miller, do you have a Discord? I do. Let me grab it real quick. Let me grab you. Don't switch. Blacklist universe. Invite people. Copy. And La Pasta. There you go. There's my Discord. Is that what they mean by decentralized money? 100 foreskins for a new house? 200 foreskins. He raised the ante on the foreskin deal. I wonder what Saul did with all those foreskins. Did he like make a wallet out of them? And then when he rubs it, it turns into a suitcase? Sorry, I hate that joke. Bad joke. Bad joke. Do you like them put in a presentation box, or just throw a sack of foreskins at the king? Maybe you shower him with foreskins. Fullskin bath. Worse than taking scalps. Yeah, I mean, do you think David was the one, or was he's like, well, let me make sure I get the good ones. This. I knew we were gonna go there. This is how this chapter is gonna end. The 200 foreskins was to show his piety fealty. I'm so good, I got 2 times as many. I think it's also gratitude, right? Fealty and the gratitude that this, he didn't think he was worthy of being son-in-law to the king, right? Because I mean, he knew he was going to be king, but he still would never put his hand up against God's anointed. And I think, yeah, out of sort of he wanted to show more than, I don't know, maybe there were just 200 Philistines there and the other 100 weren't going to be like, hey, you're taking their foreskins. I don't know. Oh, Truth Seeker, I am not highlighting that. Roscoe says, who says the Bible is boring and hard to understand? Right? Ancient day traders used to trade in foreskin futures. Do you know how many men I had to touch to marry? Oh, no. Oh, no. Y'all realize how long it took them to get back to the king. It's more like a bag of gross. Yeah. I do wonder. It really avoids all the messy, and they were messy, details between killing 200 Philistines and giving 200 foreskins of the Philistines to King Saul. And yeah. You know, and what is the deal with Saul asking? I mean, you're like Genghis Khan, you're like, bring me the heads of my enemies. right? Bring me 100 heads of my enemies. Or in Samson's case, right? Bring me, what was it, 30 changes of clothes. So like go and kill. He went and killed 30. Was it 30 or 40? I think it was 40 Philistines and took their garments. It's not something like that. Bring me 100 swords of the Philistines. No. Saul's first go-to here. I want to see them foreskins, boys.
There's nothing gay about it.
At this point, I'm not really sure. Boy. Oh, Saul. That boy's not right. I'm telling you. No. Saul had some issues. I'm gonna go with Saul did indeed have some issues. I know that's rules on sometimes pretty chill about violations. I'm trying to troll. I know. Wait, troll? What was going on? 153 Chuck's foreskin and trash. 154. Oh, I forget. Yeah. Just the language, brother. Do it again. He found a dude and was like, I got all these dead Philistines. I'll give you a nickel for every foreskin. Isn't there also something about someone putting a foreskin on their foot? Better call Saul. Foreskin on their foot. I don't recall anything like that. Bring me foreskins, David. Okay, hold my beer. I love how David was like, yes, yeah. And the thing pleased David. He's like, 100 foreskins of Philistines. Let's do this. It's such a funny chapter. I mean, when you just stop, that's why I love to like just stop and kind of like marinate in some of this stuff. Maybe not marinate in foreskins, but marinate in the story and the specifics of the story and kind of peel apart, what's going on. The things that aren't said and the necessity. And it's funny because the Bible does say a lot of really kind of nasty things. And you're like, ooh, wow, that's in the Bible. But then you're like, yeah, we're just going to skip the whole collection plate. The collection, they passed the foreskin collection plate around the Philistines. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Is it like 4 heads? The big ones get called 5. Fun fact, Moshe says, in Hebrew school, they straight up pretend this part didn't happen. How old were you before they allowed you to read Song of Solomon? I said 4 skins. Yeah, you just needed to skin 400. No, that'd be worse. Well, Saul's like, no, just 4 skins. Yeah. Truth Seeker. God save us from D&Q, Saul's foreskin edition. Your prayer has been answered. I think because you can't get foreskins anywhere, you have to kill for them. You can't get heads anywhere either. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if this was Genghis Khan or Caesar or Salome, Herod, any other ruler like Artaxerxes, any other ruler in history would have been like, bring me 100 heads of my enemies, right? In Japan, that was standard practice. In Japan, when a samurai would kill somebody, they would take their head to go show proof of the killing of the person, and then the head would be, I believe, ceremonially returned to the family of the person out of honor. So it was like your receipt for killing another samurai was literally the samurai's head, right? And then you'd go and show your shogun. You're like, look, I got Bill. Sorry, not Bill. I got Takamoto. And then they'd be like, cool, here's your, 100 silver pieces or whatever it is. Because you'd get paid. You kill a good samurai, you get paid, right? It's like, it was like a market. And then they would ceremonially wrap up the head and send it back to the family of the samurai because they honored their enemies. But there was no foreskin taking in Japan that I know of. Let's see. Oh, I read it on my own I read it on my own when I was 10. I am 20 now. Fun times walking into class answering, what was David's greatest achievement with this? That's good. That's good. And the shogun's goes like, who's Bill? That you know of. Yeah, can you tell them what y'all want for dinner? I want 2 fish tacos. One man can carry 200 foreskins. How many trailers to haul that many heads? Well, they only needed 100 heads, right?
Daddy wants a fish burrito.
No, just 2 fish tacos is fine.
2 fish tacos.
Ceremoniously.
I'll have a California burrito, no guacamole. Michael, what do you want?
Joe Pesci could get, 5 heads in a duffel bag? I mean, a head weighs like 8 pounds, right?
Michael, what do you want?
So, probably one guy could carry. I mean, these are mighty men, right? Well, there weren't David's mighty men yet. But he went with a bunch of guys, so it wasn't like David had to carry all the heads. You know what? There were no heads. I'm just discombobulating here. I'm just saying that everybody else on the planet, the thing they wouldn't have thought of was snip the tips for me, boys. Snip them tips for me. And then what if like, wait a minute. How do I know those are Philistine tips? Vic says, Mosh, was your ancestor in charge of the foreskins? How many foreskins can you get in a wallet? This is getting bad. Yeah, so I don't know. Did somebody know anything about the foreskin on the foot thing? I don't quite understand. I don't remember that anywhere in the Bible, and I've did that a couple of times. My middle name is David, named for this very man. Mosh, my wife and my children are Solomons. They are Solomons. And then I was thinking that earlier today, I was like, I wonder if Larry David is actually descended from David. He could have just asked for an ear or a nose. That's right. That's right. How about 100 noses? Right? 100, even go Apache on him. How about 100 scalps? No. Foreskins. Saul had issues. The Moses thing sounds familiar, but I can't remember the story exactly. Larry David descended from Satan. Aww. That's mean. They kind of go together in a weird way. Just another day on cross-examination. I know, right? What did David reek of after his journey discovered? Yeah, that bag probably smelled pretty bad now that I think about it. All right, I'm so glad this episode is over. Thank you all for being here on Cross Examinations. Please do come back for Drawn and Quartered tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific time. We will be doing Looney Tunes in the greatest drawing competition on YouTube. Thanks, y'all, for being here. God bless us, everyone. It smelled of Filet-O-Fish. Oh, no. This is just getting worse. It's just getting worse. This has been a wonderful first impression. God bless you, Truth Seeker. I hope you stick around. All right, we'll see you guys on the next. We'll see you guys tonight. Hopefully, come back for Drawing and Quarter. All right. Good night. God bless. And aloha.
It's sky love between